Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about your work breakdown structure, specifically cost codes and cost types, and how we need to get these set up right from the beginning of your Procore implementation. Honestly, we need to get them set up right from the beginning of your organization. You likely have a set of cost codes that is maybe 20, 30 years old and needs some revision. So at the end of this video, I'll give you some tips on how to actually make those switches. But hopefully by now you're using the CSI master format 2004. Yes, 2004. That's 50 divisions as your basis for your cost codes. If not, I'll show you how to migrate over. So let's go ahead and jump in. First, how do you navigate there? Well, you're going to go to Company Tools, select Admin. And then on the right-hand side, you want to click on Work Breakdown Structure. Yes, it will make this sidebar crazy large and you can't minimize it. I don't know how. That's a little bug in Procore. First, we're going to talk about cost type. But before I jump in there, notice that you have subjobs here and that you have phases. Phases is a new segment that I created. You can add additional segments to your work breakdown structure, your structure code if you need it. Note that those do not always go to your ERP. Like your Sage, Acumaticas, they will not be there. Subjobs, if you want to enable this, you can actually enable it on your template project so that you automatically have subjobs. So that might be another video down the road someday, but we'll get there. Let's talk cost types. So generally out of the box, Procore's cost types are pretty good. I like where they're at. You have a couple cost types that you can add or remove. I'm actually going to recommend we delete the allowance cost type. So you just remove that. You can't actually delete the basic cost type there from the beginning, but you can rename them as you go here. So just update them. And so like some that I like for cost types would be the following. I like M for material. That's good. Other. I actually changed this to W, so it's one letter. And then professional services, I use P. Oops. P. And I think that's it. E. L. I should put them on my checklist. So, yep. So there. That's good. Basic breakdown there. So now let's go back to our work breakdown structure and let's talk about cost codes. So cost codes, I would suggest spending a decent amount of time going through in Excel or something outside of Procore and really just kind of breaking these up. Do an export of your current cost list, get it reviewed by a bunch of different people in your organization. Make sure that you feel comfortable about where it's at. So if you don't agree on it, it will be a painful thing to get it right later down in the road. So ignore the building better one here. That's just my internal consulting cost codes. But you can go ahead and first review your top layer here. One thing to note is you can't change anything here on the left. You have to change everything here on the right. I'll go through some of these really quick and show you how to add them, and we'll add some basic ones. I'm not going to add and update every single one. I never do marine and transport work, so I'm just going to delete that and then delete the transportation work. We need to add them back. It's always easier to add things in addition than delete them back out after they've been created. So that's just one key there, is delete them first before you add them. Okay, so a couple things from the basic structure. So we have our cost codes all here, 0 through 33. I like to add a couple additional groupings just to make it a little bit easier here. So like one, it would be like 80, and then just hit tab. Allowances is another one I like to have in there. And then 85, contingency. And go ahead and add that. There you go. By the way, if you're ERP connected, you can deactivate a cost code that you don't need anymore by just clicking here. If you're switching from like 16 divisions to 50 divisions technically, you could just put like old, and I would recommend doing that. So like plumbing, I would put dash old behind it, or retired, whatever you want to call it, and then update and add a new item for that new, like for the one that's been updated. So now let's go into any one of these. Let's go into allowances. So you can't click inside here on this side. So you got to go here on the left-hand side, and then we got to add line. So we'll do allowances. I typically have like 1 through 9 allowances here. So you don't have to add the 80 in front. So we're just going to do 81, 80 or 01. Use 01s, use 2 digits at least. I usually do 3 digits. The other thing to think about here, I'm just checking, I don't have a dash in, is that when you create these, you want to have at least 2 digits, give you space. Sometimes you want to put spaces in between. I like to use the 6 digits overall, so this will be 1, 2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be good. And then I'll just put allowance 01. I'm just going to copy that so I can paste it later. That creates the one. If you're migrating from old cost codes to new cost codes, think about it this way: 02-00, that's going to produce a different number so that you can easily distinguish between them. So just using the difference between dashes or spaces, or maybe even dots, or you could even use underscores if you needed to, but that's an easy way. Or honestly, just leaving it out would be a way to distinguish between the two versions of the cost codes as you're migrating easily. So we'll put allowance 2 in here, add 03, allowance 3. So I would continue this numbering all the way up through 10, and we'd work our way there and get it going. So now let's go back to something like general requirements, build that out a little bit, show you what I would include in there. This is usually the stuff that's not, it's kind of an owner cost. Maybe it's passed through, but it's like a design build or something like that. So think your insurance, bonds, fees, permits, everything there is what I put in the general requirements. So I add that and just go like 50 dash dot dot, and let's do permits and government or AHJ fees. Let's do 60 bonds, 65 00 insurance, and let's just leave it at that for right now. Actually, I like to make this, we'll do a little update. I'd rather have this be 65, so I'm going to make it 66. You can't have the same number, so just go in here and make this 0. And you got to kind of work your way to that number. Change one, change the other, and then you'll get there. So I'm not going to go through here and update all of these. If you want to, you can go ahead and bring all these in one by, like, I can send this over to you. So I can give you this information. Happy to share that. Let me know. I'll just email me and I'll get it to you. Reach out, comment, however you want to do. Okay, so now let's talk about how do I go and take this information and put it on a project. So we've already created a bunch of projects, right? So that is annoying. It doesn't automatically flow down to the project. So let me show you what we got here. Specifically, let me show you one little thing here. If I change one of these, and let's just delete my pool and fountain plumbing system. I don't have those. Okay. So now I'm going to go to here and on a new project, go to admin area, select the work breakdown structure on the right-hand side in the sidebar. Look at my different work segments. I have phases here. I don't have any sub jobs. I have all my types. My types will automatically update. That's a key thing, and I'll show you here at the end. So those automatically changed, right? So now I'm going to go to cost codes, and we're going to look at these. So one thing I like to do is just try to delete everything that's there and see what happens. First, let me show you that one. I think that was under plumbing. What happens? So under plumbing, you're going to get these eyes next to them. So project specific cost codes. So if they're no longer in there, they're going to not be there. And then it's not going to automatically add any of the information. So like that was there before. Like I didn't add my allowances that I created. These are now project specific. So I can delete those pretty easily, but just go ahead here, select delete and hit delete. And it will be eliminating all of them. Got rid of all but the last few. So let's look inside here. So I can click here, hit delete as well. That's gone. I'm still using fee out somewhere. That's what it's telling me. Click here, delete, and then click here, delete, see what I got left. So I got project management coordination. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a little old at the beginning of the front of these so that I can easily find those later on down in the road. 60 old. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my overall cost codes and we're going to add, and actually what I can do here is just come in, renumber these. Oh, I can't renumber. It's going to reuse these, so I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and add all my company cost codes, select all, 162 coming in. It's going to update them. You notice it didn't change general requirements. That's okay. It's just a header. It's not the end of the world. But I'm going to update this to general conditions. If anyone wants to help me decide which one to use there, great. I would love to know which way they'd like to break it down. So it brought all the new ones in. My fee and contingency is still 99. That's okay. It is kind of what it is. If I delete it, I can then change it. So we're going to go and find out where that information lives. So let's look at our budget. And what you have to do to get rid of the other things that changed is actually delete them. So it's really kind of painful. It's annoying, but we'll make it work. So here we have this line. So there's nothing on the budget for that. So let's hit delete and see what happens. So it was in our budget, so that will actually go away. Here's the old project management. So that's good. General conditions is in there. Did I put something in the budget for that? So it's probably on my prime contract. Yeah, prime contract is the only place that I think it can be. Let's go check out prime contract. So places to look: your budget, prime contract, change events, change orders, commitments, direct costs. Those are the primary places for it. So let's start with prime contract for this. So, yep, this one looks like it's a prime contract. So yeah, I can just delete this. So now what I could do is just get rid of that. And so what I sometimes do, we'll put general conditions, I'll put the cost code in there so that I can add it back when I need to. This is especially important when you're transferring to a new ERP. Sometimes if you want to clean up a project real quick, you got to get rid of all the cost codes so that they can switch the cost codes over. And I'm just going to delete this invoice. It's not a real invoice. So delete that. Okay, let's go back to my budget. If the line goes away in your budget view, it means you're good to go. So I got one other left. Oh, that's weird. Why would that be in there? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. So it's probably going to be in a change event, maybe? Nope, no change event. Let's check commitments. Then we'll check direct costs. So open that up. Open that up. Yep, it's right here. So all we got to do is get rid of it here. Hit the little X. Hit the little X. Hit save. That's fine. We can have a non-budget code. That's fine too. Let's see. Oh, here we have another one. We can get rid of that. Save that. And let's check these commitments. No invoices, no change orders, no invoices, no change orders. So we should be good. Let's go back to our budget. Nothing in our budget. Cool. Let's hit the little filter. Ooh, still have one more. Where would that be? Can I just delete it? Nope. Over under, find that. Direct cost. So click here. Yep, I got a direct cost for it, a fake payroll. I'm just going to delete it. You could also come down here, hit edit, and just get rid of it down there. Can't be blank though, so just be aware of that. So probably you got to re-import your direct costs. Now let's go back to the budget, refresh. Should just have none left. Oh, did it not delete that? Let's go ahead and look at direct costs real quick. Oh, so there's another one. That was in draft status. That's why I didn't see it in the budget. So now if I go back to budget, nothing there. So basically, here's the key. If you go in and you have to update your cost codes, you either have to eliminate that cost code on each line for each budget or delete all of them, delete all the items. So my recommendation is when you roll out a new cost code structure, kind of go through that old and new process and then delete it one by one. So I'm going to come here, go ahead, and I'm going to re-delete all these. And then I'm going to add them all back in. Select all. You can come in and even unselect some if you want. Hit add. Now they're all on that project. So that's really helpful right there, real quick. You can't do that bulk as far as I know. And then, yeah, so that's it. Deleted direct cost, other things there. Just as kind of a couple final thoughts here is as you're going in here, go ahead and do that old new for different things. Leave it if it's there. You can slowly deactivate those. And once those cost codes go away, you can come in here. If you're not ERP connected, you can delete it and they will get that little I next to them and that will be fine. If you are ERP connected, you want to go ahead and put that old in there and then deactivate those. So that's kind of the migration strategy. I don't personally like putting new, just like I said, change the way that these characters look slightly. Either use a dash, use a space, use a dot, however you want to distinguish it. Procore will automatically put at least one dash in the breakdown as you're looking at the budget. So that's it for today. If you're still here though, I'm going to try to figure out a bonus topic for you. So let's go in. We're going to go to Company Tools, Admin, and I want to look at work breakdown structure. Hit the gear here. So cost codes, add, delete. There's this new thing here, and I don't think, yeah, cost code segments I can't change. But I don't think I can change it for cost type because those are built in. But you now have these little gears for each of them. Yep, cost type, add and remove. That's turned off, so I can't change that. But there's a phases is my one that I created. So I can come in here and I can rename it. I can delete inactive inherited from the company. So let's see what that is. Add and remove project segments, and you can make them required. So you could actually make it so that you have to have a phase when you create a new budget code. So that's kind of cool. So that's good there. And you could inactivate them here as well. So just be aware of that. If you make any new ones, you can't change, it looks like, the structure here for this, like I can't change any of these, but or the cost code and cost type, but anything you add on your own, you can go ahead and update. As far as other segments here, other things here, you can copy WBS from new projects from the template. So I think that's actually helpful. So make sure your template is updated. Enable custom cost code descriptions. So that's like, sometimes I like to go in my budget and change what the description is called for each line item. I'll talk about that when I really get into uploading the budget. And then enable edits to the budget code structure at the project level. I don't really like that. So what that is if I go back here, you can change the order of this. That's really what that is. You can move these up and down. You can have that different on each project. Really won't affect too much, but sometimes you might want to put phase first, or because it turns into building or something like that. But that's really it. These settings here in the details, that's your bonus topic for it. So check those out before you really implement, decide what you want to do. Typically the defaults are there. This one's new. I think it's in Procore Explorer over here. So copying that over is really helpful. As always, reach out if you have any questions. If you want those cost codes, those budget codes, let me know. I can always take a look at that. So have a wonderful day.